All right, welcome back to another cool tool show and tell. Today, my very special guest is Deek Diedricksen. Derek is a tiny house builder, a tree house builder, a designer, an author, an artist for hire, a musician. He's got a new book out called Micro Living, and he fronts his own metal band called Inverter. Hey, Derek, what did he bring to show us?
Nothing highfalutin and fancy, but this is just a Fubar, or a universal demolition tool. You know, as the Wu-Tang Clan would say, the UDT, Universal Demolition Tool, ain't nothing to expletive. I'll censor this for people out there. Okay. This thing is indispensable. It's just great. You have like the pry bar, pulling nails. You know, this is for wrecking 2x4s, pulling them. A hammer function. It can open a beer on this edge. There's a bunch of things it can do. It's a very primitive tool, but it's good for bashing, smashing, and trashing stuff. And I do a lot of that because I deal not only in construction, but architectural salvage as well. So I'm always tearing things in houses apart, looking for materials I can reuse. And this thing is awesome because it's pretty lightweight and compact, and it's pretty cheap. It's like 20-something bucks in that realm. I like Stanley tools enough too, because they're originally from New Britain, Connecticut. hard hitting New Britain, as they call it, where all my family is from, until they outsourced, as many companies did. But I like Stanley tools. They're pretty quality.
I've taken down, broken into a wall once or twice just to kind of fix stuff. But what are the different facets of that particular, what do you call it, the UDT? Yeah.
Well, there's different brands. There's one called the UDT. That's a Universal Demolition Tool. This is Stanley makes what's called the Fubar. If you've seen Tango and Cash, they explain what Fubar is at length. You know, effed up beyond all recognition. It's basically a tool built to destroy things. Like I said, very primitive, caveman-like, cavewoman-like. There's probably some facets I'm missing on this thing, and some, 2-in-1s on it. But I mean, this right here it's 1.5 inches, so that's the width of a framing wall, a 2x4. So you can get with the teeth here, you can get a real good. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You can get a real good grip on things, and with leverage, kind of wrench some 2x4s out of the wall, and do what you got to do. The hammer aspect of it for smashing. And occasionally, if I can't find my hammer on the site, if this thing's laying around, I'll bang in some nails with this. It's a little more cumbersome than using a regular properly weighted hammer. This acts as a claw. A pretty much a striking wedge as well to rip things apart. On this end, you kind of have the same thing. You can see this one's gotten some use. It's got the pry bar, the chisel end of it. This is for pulling nails. The only shortcoming of something like this is it's short. So in terms of leverage, you're not going to be able to trash, crush, smash. But I got you can't see it now, but to my left, I have a whole array of crowbars and tools I use to just destroy stuff, because that's where I get a lot of my materials to build tree houses, tiny houses, and all that. And to resell. There's a lot of money in architectural salvage.
Sure. All right, that's a great tool, and I imagine that it'd be a good one for the zombie apocalypse too. It looks like it's kind of like an all-in-one, zombie killer. Usually,
it's like a single head strike, and you're taking out, Tarman or whatever. And so now you're talking my language. I said to my buddy the other day, I have ADD. I said, if you're not talking, construction, comic books, beer, heavy metal, or horror movies, I'm just nodding, pretending I'm listening.
Yeah. All right.
Those are my loves. So,
and let's send some love your way too. Now, I know you from a book that came my way a few years back, Micro Shelters. I think of you as the king of tiny homes and tiny living. What other books might people be looking for from you?
Let me actually see if I can reach it. I'm going to topple a bunch of stuff. I got Micro Living is the newer version. Micro Shelters did so well, and later had a Japanese release that was actually carried through one of Make Magazine's imprints. It did so well that they wanted kind of a sequel to it. And what Micro Living is, I think Micro Living is actually way better than Micro Shelters, because it has primarily houses that are fully livable.
Yeah.
By that I mean they can have a bathroom, they have some source of heat, they have a kitchenette, all that. There's a couple exceptions to the rule, but I took like twice as long to put Micro Living together because I'm a glutton for punishment. I took most of the photos, I wrote the book, I was in charge of some of the layout, and above all that, it has floor plans for every single tiny house, the bird's eye view that's featured. I think there's 40 something of them in the book. Micro Shelters has that, but only in one extensive chapter.
And you have some workshops coming up too. Let's talk about those, because I think those are really interesting and appealing to someone like myself too, who thinks that I want to build these tiny homes and tiny structures, but kind of needs a dedicated time set aside to go and learn the skills to do that. So what have you got coming up?
My workshops are all hands-on, and there's very few out there that are. We've been doing them since 2010, I believe, so for quite some time now. We usually will have some group project, whether it's a tree house or a tiny house or a framing project. And I feel the best way to learn is to actually do. And I tell people, make your mistakes here. You pay good money to come to these workshops. Screw up with my tools, my materials. I have an array of, over my work box over there, I have something like 30 hammers in all different states of use. Wreck my stuff, waste my material, screw up on my project before you get to yours. Mm-hmm. And they're fun because, it's not like a 9 to 5 in a hotel ballroom with a boring, repeat, show, read the cue, PowerPoint presentation. Those are mind-numbingly bad, I feel. Yeah, it's all about the hands-on experience. People usually camp out, depending on where we are. We have Tiny House Summer Camp 8 coming up. Technically not in the summer, in the early fall, and that's our big one. And probably in April, we're going to do, I bought some land out in Joshua Tree, 29 Palms technically, and we've been messing with desert construction because I'm from New England, the Boston area, and it's so different out there, and you have to build everything so differently. It just fascinates me. From adobe to traditional framing, all these different things. We're kind of building on 5 acres where we can do anything we darn well please. We're doing a lot of cool tiny house construction, so it's a chance for people to come out, hang out, pick our brains, have some cocktails with us at night, talks by the bonfire. We're not in a hotel ballroom. We never will be, I hope.
I really appreciate you coming on the show today, and for everyone interested, be sure to check out the links I have down in the show notes for all of Derek's projects, and you can find where you can find them online. Derek, thanks again for talking with me today.
Pleasure, man. Thank you so much.